Well, I'm going to give my testimony, and it starts off in Bearwaller, Kentucky. That's where I accepted Christ as my Savior in a little Baptist church in Bearwaller, Kentucky. Was baptized in a muddy pond with cows on the one side, me on the other. And as I got to be a teenager, I realized they had too many rules. You couldn't cut your hair, couldn't wear pants, couldn't sing anything but Christian songs, and I thought, I can't do this. There's too many rules here. So I switched to the Methodist church because they didn't seem to have any. So I joined the youth group there, and soon after that I met my husband, and we were high school sweethearts, and I was married for 30 years to my first husband. We were together 35 total, and then in 2006 he committed suicide. So that pretty much was my first break. She put something in the newsletter not too long ago about the brokenness and how it's the hidden gift. So, well, that was my first broken, but that didn't break me completely. I had 4 kids to take care of. My youngest was 10 at the time, and I pulled myself together and kept on going, and eventually I wound up at the Bikers Church, motorcycle church, and that's where I met Dave. Looked across the room at him, and I thought, he's kind of cute. It turned out we had the same birthday. My daughter's name is Megan. His daughter's name is Megan. His daughter's married to Jeremy, and my oldest son's name is Jeremy. His granddaughter's name is Jordan, and my daughter's best friend's name is Jordan. So we had a whole lot in common. So we got together, and then came the next brokenness. He, like he said yesterday, committed adultery. And we were apart, just recently got back together a couple months ago, and that was my next break. That was the one that did it. Because then I decided that if Sylvia had birthed this child and raised this child, then there must be something seriously wrong with Sylvia. So I got together all of her books and my Bible, and I sat down, went paragraph by paragraph, trying to figure out where it was that she screwed up. That she could not possibly be teaching the Word if she raised that child. And I'd start reading my Bible for hours at night, going through every paragraph, every book. Finally got to the last book, I couldn't find any inconsistencies. Everything she said was right from the Bible, and it got me where I needed to be with the Bible and with Jesus. I started accepting him into my life, reading my Bible every day, and my whole world started turning around. And during all this time, God kept telling me, you're supposed to be with Dave. Tried to move on. He said, you're supposed to be with Dave. I have plans for you all. And that's how our ministry got started. He told me, got plans, so we're following the plan. And soon after this started happening, I work in the ER. I'm busy running up and down the hallways, and God spoke to me. He goes, go to that room and pray with those people. And I'm like, what, God? That's not even my patient. And he said, no. He said, go over there and pray with those people. And I said, but I've never prayed out loud, God. I don't have the words. And he said, don't worry, I'll give you the words. So I went into the room and I prayed with these people. And it turned out the woman had just gotten over breast cancer, and had just found out that day she was now in 4th stage colon cancer and was not going to be around long. So I prayed with them, and the rest of my day was just whoopee. I mean, I got through the rest of my 12-hour shift just feeling God on me, just going wild. And then after that, God spoke to me multiple times in the ER to go pray with people. And each time, everybody always wound up crying, and I thought, I must be doing something wrong, because everybody's crying. And 2 weeks ago, I had a patient who, we call them Team Ds. It's where a patient's having a stroke. And they told me my patient was unresponsive and was coming in having a massive stroke. So I said, okay. So I jumped into go mode. She came in, was totally unresponsive, had droopy face. The only thing she would respond to was very deep pain, and then that was only with one side of her. And she stopped breathing multiple times. So the first thing you do is take them to CAT scan. So I gathered up my oxygen and my cardiac drugs and all my stuff and took off to CAT scan, thinking, please don't die, CAT scan. And I got through the CAT scan. She stopped breathing multiple times during that. And then on the way back to the ER, I'm saying, oh, please don't go till we get to the ER. And I thought, Nancy, you don't decide who lives and dies. God does. So pray to God. And within minutes of praying, this woman looked up at me and goes, where am I? By the time I got her back to the ER, all of her symptoms had resolved. I got her, pulled her into the room. Her husband's son was sitting there. And I said, who are these people? And she said, oh, that's my husband and son. Well, they start bawling. Well, by the time the neurosurgeon got there, she no longer had any neurodeficits whatsoever. And the ER doctor, we went to, neurosurgeon went from the bedside to the ER doctor, says, is that my stroke patient in there? And he said, oh, yeah. He says, well, she's got no symptoms. There's nothing to treat. So then a couple weeks after that, I'm working in the ER again, and somebody says, there's a man at triage. He's been here a couple times hunting for you and wants to talk to you. And I thought, what man? I knew it wasn't my husband. It wasn't my sons. So I kind of was a little concerned. So I went out there, and it was her husband. While she was in the hospital, they discovered that she had some weakness in her legs that was causing her to fall. So he had brought her back to the hospital for physical therapy. And he comes running up to me and threw his arms around me, and he said, thank you for saving my wife's life. And I said, I didn't. He goes, what? I said, I didn't. I prayed to God. God saved your wife. He said, nurses pray? I said, oh, yes, we do. Pray every day. And I gave him my card for the ministry, and I continue to pray. And even though I work in a Baptist hospital, I have always been concerned that I'm going into patients' rooms. They're not my patients. I'm spending time at their bedside. And I thought, I wonder what my charge nurses are thinking. You know, what am I doing in these rooms? And am I going to get in trouble for praying with people? And I've never heard a single negative thing. And as a matter of fact, my boss sent me an email not too long ago telling me that he had heard some very positive things about me and was very excited about what I was doing in the ER and to keep doing it. So, and every time I pray for somebody, that 12-hour shift just goes by. I mean, it's like I'm walking on clouds. And now Dave and I are starting this ministry and praying for people. He always had that power and to heal. He's healed me. He's healed his mother. And I thought, well, I can't heal anybody. I don't have that power. I'm a nurse. I can do it with my hands and my knowledge, but I can't do it with my prayers. And it's changed. It's changed completely. It's really changed. I can help people. And it just upsets me because every time I pray, they all cry. We always all run up crying. And I really hated the woman that he had a situation with who happened to be his high school sweetheart, which I thought was kind of interesting. And God has spoken to me, and God has told me to forgive. That I can't be a minister and minister to other people and pray for other people unless I can forgive myself. So I've recently got to a point that it's no longer on me. I mean, I've given it over to God, and God has taken it all from me, and I no longer feel hatred, jealousy, or anything. My shoulders are lighter, my walk's a little lighter. I mean, once you give it over to Jesus, that's all you have to do. That's right. That's right. And I read my Bible every day, and I pray every day, and my job's actually gotten a million times easier.